What's up? This is David from Papa Roach. Check out Taproot on Warped Inside.
It was really hard for us starting out because there's only one place that we ever played in Ann Arbor, which was the Blind Pig, and that's kind of got its own history for having a lot of rock bands come through, just national bands like Nirvana played there right when they were starting to take off, and Pearl Jam played there. But I don't know. I don't think our attitude really fits in with many of those things. Fortunately, I think we might be the first of a few new wave rock things coming out of Detroit. There's a band called Factor 81 that we're really good friends with. They're a great heavy band, a band called Workhorse, who's awesome live. You got to see them. And so I don't know, I think Detroit was kind of labeled for, especially more recently, more of the rap thing, like, Kid Rock and Eminem and ICP. But I'd like to think that we're kind of doing our own thing and paving our own road. We probably attribute most of our success, especially real early on in getting a buzz about ourselves, to the internet. Mike, our guitar player, and Phil, our bass player, they're probably the ones who kind of pushed that the most. Actually, a fan of ours was the first person to ever do a Taproot site, and we kind of stole that from him. And it was just a real cheap Angel Fire site. We said, oh, this is pretty cool. We need to get our website going. So we stole that from him. We kind of took it over and started doing our own thing with it. But, yeah, Mike, he used the internet as a real marketing tool just to get our name out there. And he would spend probably 2 hours a night just going to all the major rock and metal websites that he could think of and just say, hey, I'm in this band called Taproot. Come check us out. Here's an MP3 on our website. You can come check out the site. And, he'd just spend an hour or two every night doing that. And it ended up just kind of creating a buzz about us. And we started selling our own CDs over the internet and stuff like that. And it's just a good way to say, if we were playing a show or something, we would sell CDs from the show. We'd have our website on there. It's just real good to have a website as a way for people to go check you out, without actually having to spend money to buy the CD first. I don't know. It's kind of helped us and hindered us at the same time, just because, Fred did a lot to help us out right in the beginning. He was one of the first kind of major people that showed interest in us just from a demo that we sent him. But then he kind of slept on it for like 3 years. So we kind of had to do what we needed to do. After about 3 years, we started getting some of our own buzz and some of our labels looking at us just because of our music and our own merits and stuff like that without his help. And I think it was at that point that he kind of felt the urge to act on it, and he offered us a deal which wasn't even really a good record deal. It was more of a production deal that didn't even guarantee that we got signed. So, I don't know, that's when he left the message, and unfortunately, that thing happened September of last year, so it's been well over a year now, and it still comes up in interviews that we do. So, and we kind of like to forget about that and just kind of focus more on our music. So I would say, although it kind of maybe helped create a little bit of a buzz about us, it's kind of hindered us now because I think people kind of associate us with Limp Bizkit instead of looking at our music on its own merit. Metallica album and Justice for All, because that was pretty much the first metal album I'd ever heard. I listened to a lot of pop when I was growing up. I loved Huey Lewis. I loved In Excess. I loved whatever was on Top 40. And I seen a Minor Threat video where these guys were stage diving and stuff, and I'd never seen anything like that. I was like, oh, that's crazy. So I asked the kid who owned the video, this was at one of my friend's birthday parties, I said, what's kind of like a heavy band that I could maybe get into just to check out? And he says, oh, Metallica has a new album out, go get that. So I bought the tape, and I literally wore that thing out. I heard Blackened, it was the first heavy song I ever heard, and it changed my life, and I've always listened to heavy metal ever since. So probably a couple, 3 years after that, I went out and bought my first drum set and tried to play everything Lars did.
I think we're just trying to do the best we can. I don't know how we fit in with what we're going to do in the long term. I don't know if we're going to be legendary, something that's going to be talked about. We're just trying to spread our positive message to everybody that we can, and hopefully we'll be talked about in the future as a band that has a big influence and one of the great bands that came out of Detroit and put Detroit back on the map. From the beginning, Mike and I, our guitarist and I, have developed our website and just promoted it on everybody else's website. From whatever other music sites, we just jump on there and say, hey, you guys ought to come check out our site. We'd help people out by promoting them on our site, just kind of like a trade-off thing. And kids seem to dig what we have. We had music clips and all that stuff, and We just started broadening our fan base. We'd sell CDs, sell shirts, everything we could, like just to promote our band on, like, not to make money, just to like get our name out there, and just to reach as many kids as we could. We had people from Australia, sending us orders, Brazil, like all over the country here. Like, it's crazy how many people were like coming to our site, and like we weren't even that big in our state, but all over the country we had a whole bunch of other fans that like knew of us. When Limp Bizkit first released $3 Bill, Y'all, our singer got an advance copy of it, and in the inside of the cover it says send demos and stuff to this address, and we did, and Fred really liked it, called us up. Like, in the background, you can actually hear like him playing our music. He's like, "Hey guys, I really dig your stuff. I can't wait to meet you guys." And just didn't leave a number or anything. But like they were playing in town like about a month later, and Steve and Mike went down to see him. Met him. Everything was cool. Fred treated us great. He told us, "Oh, are you guys ready to be signed? I'm gonna get you guys to the top. Just wait till this stuff hits. And he'd been doing that. He ended up doing that for like 2 years. We'd keep making demos, sending it to him. He'd like tell us how much he loved it, how great it's going to be when it happens, but it never happened. And so, at first that's all we had, but like we started getting our, a bigger buzz on the internet, and then like other labels started hearing of us. They started to call us, and we got the opportunity to like showcase for Rick Rubin, and we're like, okay, well, we got Fred over here, but he's not really doing anything for us yet. And we got Rick Rubin, who did Chili Peppers, who did Beastie Boys. Like, he's just this like God to us. We're like, we can't refuse this. So we didn't exactly tell Fred we were going out there, but we figured he'd understand. He's a businessman. We're just trying to do what's best for our band and just see the other options, not necessarily turning him down. So we fly out to play a great set for Rick Rubin. He loved it. Come back. There's that notorious answering machine message by Fred Durst on Steve's machine, basically telling us to piss off and never associate ourselves with Limp Bizkit again, all because we just we didn't even sign with anybody yet. We were just showcasing, looking around, seeing our other options, and Fred got real pissed about it. I actually didn't start playing bass until I was like 19 years old. And before that, like I've always been a music fan, but like I never played an instrument. And my brother plays guitar, and instead of he wanted somebody to be able to accompany him instead of just play with him. So he sold me his bass, and he taught me a few songs. And I lived with Jared, our drummer, and Steve lived a couple blocks away. So from the beginning, I've always had people to play with, and it's always been fun for me. Like, I love bands like the Chili Peppers and Primus and Rage Against the Machine, and their bass players are just amazing and fun to play along with. And I don't know, it's just been a great experience from the beginning. I've always had great people to play music with.